Dear gentle listeners, let it be known that if there is a scandalous episode of Doctor Who, we shall review it and share every last detail. And such an episode has welcomed us just this past Saturday. Cherished listeners, know that this humble podcaster was shocked at the sights and sounds of the episode Rogue and its comparisons to one's own Netflix. I'm gonna do that bit. I'm gonna start all that again. Scrub this
Oh,
start. I lost it. I lost
keep it
it
in.
there
Keep it
entirely.
in for the
Yeah.
extras.
La 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 la. Just can't get you out of my head. Boy, your loving is all I think about. I just can't get you out of my head. Boy, it's more than I dare to think about. Oh God, shit! Podcast. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Did I miss something? Oh, God. Sorry, Jack. Sorry, Robin. Sorry. You heard nothing. You heard nothing. This is fine.
Here we go. Dear gentle listeners, let it be known that if there is a scandalous episode of Doctor Who, we shall review it and share every last detail. And such an episode has welcomed us just this past Saturday. Cherished listeners, know that this humble podcaster was shocked at the sights and sounds of the episode Rogue and its comparisons to one Netflix own Bridgerton. However, this author also feels that it must be made known that love is love. And in this month, the one of Pride, truly Rogue was a spectacle to be adored. Yours sincerely, Lords, whistle down the awfully long corridors that require an awful lot of Runnington.
Wahoo!
Hello and welcome to An Awful Lot of Running, a Doctor Who podcast.
Wahoo!
Yes, I am Jack, will invite your hosting team, and joining me, as always, the rake, the true cur or cad himself. It is only the Viscount himself, Lord, published author Robin Foale.
Oh Lord, I could get used to such a title with this.
But
the scandal.
Lordy.
No, I was meant to be all high and mighty, but I went, oh Lordy,
Yeah, it's Regency, not what early 20s Southern America. No.
Oh dear, no, I'd be one of the servants. I am.
The master wants his plum pudding. Quick,
Oh,
we gotta
yeah.
go get it. It wouldn't be Christmas without Mrs. Creaney's plum pudding. I tell you that now.
Oh, you beat me to it, Jack. It's all going down here, folks, already. Hello, yes, I am Robin here. It is, as always, an absolute pleasure, especially when we are discussing such an incredible episode. And what a time for it to come out as well during Pride Month of all times, which I just think was just perfect. I don't know if it was just perfect timing or
must have been something in that.
I hope so.
There must have been. There's no way you do an episode like that, which, for lack of a better term, on the tin, it looks to be Doctor Who's answer to Bridgerton, which is something I've spoken about before, which I'm a big fan of, and I think is a wonderful series and what have you. But I mean, on the tin, it's that. And then, well, I suppose it as well. It's just, and it plays all the tropes of it in a very fun and interesting way as well.
But it's great because it doesn't just go, oh, let's just copy and paste an episode of Bridgerton. Like, it's still clearly Doctor Who at the end of the day. And what they inject into this is, well, we'll get into that discussion.
Yeah. We are talking tonight about the sixth episode of series or season 1 of Doctor Who, written by Kate Herron and Bryony Redman, that being Rogue. Obviously, Kate Herron and Bryony Redman we know from Loki, I didn't watch series 2 of that, but I know, I enjoyed series 1 of it very well. But there's a lot to unpack in this one because, again, on the tin, it's billed as being like the Bridgerton episode, and there are still definitely some parallels. But I came out of this thinking, by Jove, this is the most RTD1 episode we've had since this whole era started.
Oh, completely, complete. This is like we almost got like a third companion joining the group, akin to season 1 with Captain Jack, and it also is very much akin to season 2's Girl in the Fireplace, which has a lot of parallels with that, which I don't know if
There's
that would.
that, but also, I mean, you think about it, in this, Rogue's ship is cloaked and invisible, much like Jack's is. Look, I'm going to be very clear. Rogue is a better Jack in this day and age, is what I will say, coming from this episode. And Dominic, Jack Harkness wishes he was Rogue by the end of this episode.
Oh my God,
You know?
like Rogue is a delight. Absolutely. Like, and it's such a good title for an episode because it doesn't give anything away about the episode. You look at Rogue, you then look at, oh, it's clearly Bridgerton inspired. It's going to be that kind of time period. Great, cool. But it doesn't give away the fact that it's the name of a character. It doesn't give away the fact that it's actually this play on being rogues that hide behind personas, which is a good layer onto the shape change of the episode. And, you know, it doesn't reveal everything in the title. And it can also be a nice misleading, which is like, oh, I just love those layers when it comes to titles. That's really
Yeah,
good.
and how, I gotta ask, I mean, we're jumping way ahead to say it, Robin, but how does it feel to have a character in Doctor Who that is very clearly named after a class from TNT that
Yes.
he references? You know?
Oh, that was so good to see. Just when, oh yeah, when the moment I saw the dice on the table, I was just like, oh my God. And it was just like Dungeons and Dragons reference, Woeful Initiative. And I was just like, oh, be still my beating heart. Not only is
Oh,
Rogue an absolute hottie, but he's a hot nerd. And it's like, okay, sure.
yeah.
Hey, I'm a straight guy, but you know, Rogue,
I've
I
got to say that there's a lot
it's
of eye candy in this episode
oh
between
oh
Shooty and Jonathan Groff. Like, you know,
like
and Jonathan Groff, by the way, coming in as an actor who's, you know, he's TV, Broadway, film. He's a massive star in the industry.
he's got
He's
so
he's
much
he's
range.
Christoph in Frozen, for God's sake, Robin. You
He's
know?
the king in Hamilton. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy his range.
It's
Absolutely
but
insane.
also the fact that he's here doing Doctor Who and obviously had a really good time. And
Mm,
look, I'm going to say it now. I don't think it's the last we've seen of Rogue. I
I
think
hope not.
there's very clearly set up here. So, you know,
I'm praying because he's not just like a one and done character where you're like, oh yeah, you know, that was really nice, that kind of relationship they had. But it's like, no, like you could tell that they have a lot. And you know, I've also got my own little kind of theory on something that he mentioned, which I'd like to bring up later.
mm,
I haven't seen discussed, so I'm definitely interested in that.
no. Well, I think there's an awful lot to discuss in this episode. I think going into it, it was probably one which I was saying last week how I was claiming this episode.
Oh,
This is
you
my
were.
episode, and I'm very happy that I did that because I loved it. I absolutely adored it. But I didn't realize. I thought it'd be fun. I didn't realize just how much there would be to unpack from it because like there were little clips we saw and like the smoldering between Shooty and Jonathan Groff, or between the Doctor and Rogue. I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna fuck. Like I was like, well, but obviously I was joking. Like I was joking. I thought I never expected them to go where they went, and I am so glad they did. I
Mm,
literally, like, again, it's skipping way ahead, but the moment we have the kiss,
yeah.
and it's not the first same-sex kiss that's been done on Doctor Who, unlike
No.
some news outlets are trying to tell you that that it is, but it's not. It's not. But it's the first romantic same-sex kiss from the Doctor. And I think that is so powerful and so brilliant and so great for particularly young fans to see. And, again, here's me speaking about this as a straight white guy, but no,
But the
I thought
thing
it was
is,
wonderful. And I literally, I punched the air. I literally punched, I was like,
same.
yes, I was so happy.
I spent most of the episode just like on the edge of my seat, just being like, kiss, kiss, kiss. If I had like the two action figures, I'd just be putting them together. But it's like I was shipping them two because their chemistry is amazing. It doesn't, and what's great as well, it doesn't feel like they're trying to tick off a box. They're not just trying to like get audiences to like something. No, they clearly put a lot of care into this. They clearly, even though this is a character who could possibly only be a one and done character, which would be really sad. Actually, the chemistry between the two, the following them, where so much so that kind of, if you think of it as them having the A plot and Ruby having the B plot, the A plot is kind of the one that takes over the story. And every time they went away from her, I was like, I love Ruby. It's a great band with this other girl. I really just want to go back to them because they're just so adorable. Like to have this Rudy character like clash against this like absolutely charismatic, like God damn, Shooty was doing all of his moves in this.
Yeah,
Like
it was in Unleashed. Kit Haring and Brainy Redmond talk about how Shooty's Doctor is very extroverted, and it was really cool to sort of put him on the back foot, in terms of certain parts, make him a bit more introverted in parts. But I say that, but then there's I've rewatched the scene of the Doctor and Rogue on Rogue's spaceship about 10 times.
I
At
love
this
it.
point, just because between like, oh, here's that a smile from the serious man in the world. Oh, and it says here you're built for sound. And
I think Jack just forgot his editor was Scottish. I'll be watching you, Jackie boy. You ever try an accent like that, I will find you. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the pod.
and Kylie playing is so great. And then to the stuff like the frankly canon shattering moment as well. That that's not much of a reaction, Robin. Okay, that's unpack it now because there's bigger. Did you not notice this?
I noticed a few different things. I'll let us unpack that one first before I bring up something.
I feel like this is a big one in terms of the canon.
It's
because it's canon busting, and like yes, the toy maker said way back in the giggle that he made a jigsaw puzzle of the Doctor's past, but it's the scene we always love to see when something's happening, where we start to see the history of the Doctor, we see the past faces coming up, and we saw the 10th Doctor's face come up, then the 13th Doctor's face, William Hartnell's face, and then sorry, I had to pause the episode and wind back about 5 times to take in it because I went, is that Richard E. fucking Grant there?
Not only does he appear in Loki, but he now also appears in this.
Not only does in Loki, he appears as a version of Loki. He's appearing as a version of the Doctor. And I was like, wait, what? Are we wait, are we making Scream with a Schalke cannon? Because what is how does that fit in? What is happening? Like, is he a pre Hartnell Doctor? Is he a timeless Doctor? What is happening here? Because we see Joe Martin show up there as well, which is brilliant. I'll say.
Yeah, no, I really respected the fact they did that. Just all of these little things. And the first time I was watching, I was thinking the first time we came across, like, did they do a really bad job with a Doctor's face who I just don't recognize? And then as he just moved a bit further, it's that kind of split second, and then you're like, oh shit, it's Loki. Okay, sure. And I don't really think much else of it because I was just so immersed in the rest of the episode to then later go back and be like, oh yeah, that's like a real deep canon cut with all this
Yeah.
other stuff that they did. Because like that's just really interesting. Like I know for a lot of casual fans, they'll look at that and they'll be like, did I miss an episode or why is he never been brought up? But it is very fascinating that they chose to do that just as a thing for the fans to be like, yeah, we
Yeah,
get
but
that.
even so much so that Russell is there putting on Twitter that Scream of the Schalker is canon now. And I'm like, what is how
Mm,
does that fit it? And obviously I'm very much a person of being like, oh, it's the whole point of the canon buster I do is that I talk about embracing the weird and the strange stuff in the expanded universe because we need to accept it all as canon because it's just more fun that way, isn't it? But
mm.
it's difficult when something literally contradicts itself. Like the Richard E. Grant Doctor, the Schalke Doctor, is another Ninth Doctor.
I
And it's
really
like,
like his Doctor Show, like his look, that
mm,
vampire look. I don't know what it is, but I just love
yeah.
that kind of very haunting, dark look for the Doctor, very gaunt face. It's like,
I think we're definitely going to need to do Scream of the Schalke at some point for this.
that'd be good. I'd really like to do that because that is
Mm.
fun.
Yeah, that threw me for a loop, and then just the
Mm.
whole. I mean, the episode itself is so Ruby says it a few times. It's so Bridgerton. It really is. Like
It
it
is.
really is. It really does a very good job of sort of replicating that, but then putting its own spin on it. It's still Doctor Who. It's still very
Yeah.
RTD1 Doctor Who is what I would say. This, again, I said at the start here, it's the most RTD1 episode we've had so far. Everything else has been a bit different. This feels very like when they go back in time and have like it's so much so it feels like we could have the 10th Doctor and Rose in this episode, or we could have the 10th Doctor and Donna, maybe not so much
Mm.
Martha because he'd be treating her like a piece of shit, wouldn't he? But
Yeah.
that's anyway,
Move along.
moving on from that. Yeah, but no, exactly. Yeah, it's so yeah, I think that's interesting, you know, for lack of a better term to say.
Yeah.
And
Take a
I
drink.
think, yeah, take a drink, but drinks responsibly, everyone. I really like the villains in this as well. You know, the idea of the Childer family being a bunch of like crazy evil cosplayers.
Cosplayers. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
which is funny. I'll just be to MCM, and I was thinking, God, my next con I'm gonna be looking at all you a bit differently, aren't
yeah.
I?
What again, what I think is really great when it comes to picking your villain for a Doctor Who episode is making sure if you're going for something that's very plot heavy and not so much focused on the monster of the week, you need to make sure that the monster is still interesting or still enough of a threat without taking away from the main focus, the main drama of the episode. And the thing is, I think that it's a great choice to have these creatures that can still be intimidating, can take the place of things, body snatchers. We haven't had body snatchers for a while in Doctor Who. Yes, we had the reappearance of some like years and years ago,
Oh yeah,
but
like the Zygons. Yeah, sure.
yeah, but it's like to have them be there and be like like who are they, that type of thing, and sort of keep the Doctor guessing, keep Rogue guessing, which is always a good narrative thread. But also, they're there, they're clearly dangerous, and they definitely ham it up a bit in a good way, but it still never takes away from the relationship between the Doctor and Rogue. Like it's never a point where it becomes the monster story. No, it should always be the focus is on this love story. And I think that was so important. Plus, it's just, yeah, I've talked about it extensively on the show. I love practical makeup effects. So to see bird makeup done that looks so good. Like, bless the actors for being in those chairs for
Yeah, they would have
hours.
been for hours. It's funny. It carries on a long tradition of Russell making animal people. As
Mm,
you look at the Jadoon, you look at the cat people, and now we've got birds. It's like, okay,
yep, just
I
ticking
see
all
what
the
you're doing.
boxes.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fine. Well, I suppose I say that we literally just had what Back in Flux there was Carvanista, wasn't there? It was a dog man. You know,
Yeah.
which I love Carvanista. Bring back Carvanista for God's sake. Come on.
Oh, I've
Come
wanted him
on,
back
bring him
so
back.
much.
Yeah.
Like,
But I was thinking as well, it's very funny, Robin, that this is the first episode since 2020 that has been written entirely by someone who is not a showrunner or like the showrunner or a former showrunner of Doctor Who. Like we have had almost 4.5 years of Chris Chibnall writing most of an episode, Rusty Davis, and one episode of Moffat, obviously. So it's this is what we've all wanted. This is what we've all been looking for. It's fresh, new voices writing Doctor Who, and I know for a fact that Kate Herron and Bryony Redmond going into this were straight away saying, "Can we make it a queer romance?" And Russell was like, "Yes, yes, you can." And it's so wonderful to see it with it being the Doctor that's having this romance, you know, and it plays through all the tropes of like Regency era like dramas as well, like, you know, like Bridgerton, for example. The first season of Bridgerton is based on the trope of the secret, the pretending to be dating, basically, or pretending to be courting when leading
okay, yeah.
relationship. Second series is enemies to lovers. Okay. Third series is friends to lovers. Right. This is absolutely, this goes from enemies to lovers to friends to lovers, and it's, you know, just with the Doctor and Rogue, because at the start of it they are, you know, at each other, and there's the great scene of them in the gardens being like, you know, some of the alien tech, someone committed this murder, and that was you, and they both say you at the same time.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you did this.
And to have that Bridgerton influence in the music as well, like it's not just like beautiful scores that fit the setting, choreography done by the choreographer from Bridgerton, which is just like, oh yeah, no, perfect. But it's just like having Rogue introduced with the theme bad guy, like I actually really laughed.
Which is quite literally from the Bridgerton soundtrack as well.
Oh really?
It's just the dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun,
So
dun, dun.
like what makes this even more hilarious in hindsight is my current Dungeons and Dragons game that I'm running. I had the players infiltrate this ball, this great big party ball, and the way I introduced the villain was I played bad guy with the sort of bardcore version that I found on YouTube. So to see that, I was just like, hang on a minute, you reading my notes here, Doctor Who?
Those barcode ones are very good. I'm not gonna lie.
So good.
They can be very atmospheric for D&D. I've actually seen so many people on Twitter saying how like Bridgerton is inspiring them to do like D&D stuff. And I'm like, that's so cool, because this is just this weird sort of crossover between Doctor Who and Bridgerton and Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm just like, this is great. I'm like, in a weird way, we're one step closer to having Matthew Mercer in an episode. And I'm just like,
oh my God, that'd be so good.
Yeah, I think the A plot definitely drives this episode, as you said there, but I do think Ruby has some really great stuff as well. Like in particular, you talk about the soundtrack there, the moment she does the tap tap on her ear, and it's the battle mode, and it's playing face to her fighting off this bird woman. So, I just found this so joyous, so fun, so fresh, just, you know. And I'm jumping around so much, like little things like the Doctor letting Rogue into the TARDIS and Rogue having like, oh my God, and then the Doctor singing Pure Imagination.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, it's just
joy.
Perfect. It's just I just every episode I fall more and more in love with the 15th Doctor. I really, really do. And it's just those little touches. I'm just like, I love this guy. He is so electric. So, you know, brilliant. Yeah.
There's always something fun about seeing a companion's reaction to the TARDIS, but seeing someone so, I've got to keep up this facade of being this brooding bad boy. And then he walks into the TARDIS and just breaks it completely. It's just like, yeah. Just those really cute moments, like see the Doctor as well earlier get flustered with the psychic paper saying you're hot, and it's just like, oh, Oh,
I
I'm
know.
all for it.
I
That's
love
so
it so much.
cute.
You know. It's
Oh,
so it's. I really think this is gonna. I've been saying it about for every episode. I feel like for this series, but I feel like this one will go down as something special. I can't wait for the Target novelization, which is going to be coming out in August.
I cannot wait either because some of the episodes I've really adored, but I've definitely noticed things where I was like, "Ooh, this feels like they cut a scene," or "This feels a little
Mm.
like quick in places." With this, I felt the relationship between the two was really natural, just, and I think that's really thanks to the dialogue being
Mhm.
so good. But clearly, I think the introduction of these new writers was exactly what this episode needed with this topic. And also just the chemistry of these actors, the way that, they clearly have got a background in a little bit of dance and the like, and the suave nature of these characters that they've played before, but the way they come together, like that dance scene is so
Oh my god,
beautiful.
it's the centerpiece of the episode, isn't it?
Mm,
How the doctors talk about how they need to have a scandal to something scandalous to get the children's attention, and oh, the way they're dancing there, and then the light cuts, so it's
yes.
just them, and it's Jonathan Groff does this really amazing thing on Unleashed where he said like it felt like it was just them dancing for the stars,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like yeah, and it feels like it makes this episode feel like a real like whirlwind romance, which I think is so beautiful, as well as it being like sort of slow burn in the episode itself, where it's just like smoldering for a bit and then just little things. It's just, and not for nothing else as well. It's the representation, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to have a queer story in Doctor Who this overt as well. They don't apologize for it, and neither should they.
No,
Which
no,
is
they
so
should
wonderful.
not.
It feels earned. It feels great, and I can't. I'm talking about this again, yet again, me straight guy, but I'm someone that tries to be a ally in every way I can, and I just want to see people accept love because love is love, and
Yeah.
and it's so important. And my God, I just imagine being a young person there who loves Doctor Who and maybe has questions about their sexuality and things like that, and sees this episode with the Doctor, experiencing queer love like that. It just touched me so much.
Well, we've been this whole time praising how well told this story is. This does not feel like, yep, no, we've got to do this story, got to tick some boxes. Like, no, they had a story to tell. They clearly put in so much heart and soul, and they gave it their all. And it is a beautiful, self-contained story. Like so many of these episodes are just these beautiful, interesting, self-contained stories. Like, even though it's tragic, it's still got those moments of fun. You have the characters kind of one up in each other, which makes the relationship so nice to see the Doctor get flustered, to see this badass looking character sort of break character. And it's just really adorable, and it makes you root for the relationship, and it makes you feel like that kiss is earned. And it's just like, yes, I love seeing it. It's just,
Oh, it's such a beautiful moment. I cried. I genuinely cried,
oh yeah.
And I've seen people sort of rag on the 15th Doctor that like, oh, he's crying every episode. I just don't see the issue. I really don't see the issue.
No, I don't.
More and more in this society, we try and preach that it is okay to cry. And I think it's massive to see the Doctor up there crying. And, not for nothing, the Doctor has some pretty stressful situations week in and week out, and like I cry when I can't tie my shoelaces some days. Like,
Oh, bless.
like I'm just saying, I cry most days. It could just be over a stupid advert on the TV. But like, I just
No,
I
I think in this day and age, we need to get rid of this stupid mentality of, oh, you got to be a man. You got to suck it up, you know. It's like, fuck off. You know, that time and thing is over. We're in an age now where it's okay to be emotional. And not only is the Doctor selling us this with this role, with this much more vulnerable Doctor, which I think makes her a really compelling character. I think it's also great that by the end of the episode, where he's trying to be like, yep, you know, it's time to go. Yep, try and move on. And Ruby's just like, no, shut up, come here. Just hugs him.
Yeah,
And
she
she's like, she's
knows.
not taking bullets. And I love Ruby for that.
Oh, I
Like,
love. Well, we say every week how much we love Ruby, what an
yeah.
amazing job Millie Gibson is doing. You know, genuinely, she's going up there. She's really, she's she's definitely in the sort of like the tier of favorite companions at this point for me. I think she's just given such a amazing performance. Even just be for how comedic she is, because she does comedy so well as the drama stuff, you know, and just the empathy as well, like you're saying there, is so wonderful. But yeah.
No, I mean, obviously, I feel like we've been praising the performances of the Doctor and Rogue throughout this, but there were so many really good fun performances as well. Like Ruby, once again, is great in this. I think while we want to stay on the A plot because of how much we love in it, I think we do need those breaks from it to make us appreciate those moments more. And I think to have Ruby have some other comedic scenes that sort of try and lighten the tone where she's putting in her anecdotes, her words, and it's like, oh, maybe don't use cushy, you know. And
I love because the Doctor has that great line earlier on about go have fun, try not to invent tarmac. You know,
yeah.
it's like was it like 1910 got away from me? So like just I love those little lines which are just because you get them in every episode of Doctor as well, when it's like that whether it be don't step on the butterfly and all that rubbish.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's I think I love the bit when she's with the Duchess, when she's still the Duchess, and the Duke or Lord oh god, what's his name? It's I just want to say it's Bridgerton, because it is
Yeah.
not Bridgerton, but he's like he comes over and he's like your hair is so yellow. She's like, oh god, you're not
Yeah.
you're not a tall drink of water, half a pint of shandy. I was like, oh,
Also,
oh,
also, Jack, the spinning wheel. There's a certain reference to where Jackie Tyler has her drinks at, isn't it?
oh my god.
Yeah, remember? Back in like, I think it's in Love and Monsters when she's at the laundromat and she says to someone, "Oh, I'll see you at the spinning wheel later." So just this idea that they share the same pub and could have
Wow.
that sort of drink, it's just like, oh, that is
That's a deep cut. There've been a few
yeah.
of those little ones as well. It's really cool.
Mm.
You know what else we see like during those beginning scenes? I love that we sort of do it there and get out of the way as well. Is Ruby finds the portrait of the Duke's mother,
Mm.
and there's always a twist. There's always a twist. There's always a Susan twist. Robin, I think now is our time to throw in our final predictions, because it seems like next week I say next week, Friday night or Saturday morning, we're going to be having the Legend of Ruby Sunday. We're probably be getting some answers to the nature of Susan Twist. So I think now's the time to sort of throw those final theories out there. So what do you think about Susan Twist?
I I'm really struggling to think what she is because I've not watched any trailers for the next episode. I want to jump in fresh. Um, it's like it's so difficult to work things out because she's appeared in so many places. I'm trying to recognize if they brought up any other names or the like, because obviously we've had was it the Fair Trade Corporation or
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, no, it's
yes,
no, what is it?
Valentine.
It's
Oh,
Villengard,
shoot.
Villengard, isn't it? Villengard.
Look, the Vanguard, but
Yeah.
also in Dot and Bubble, what were they called?
Fine Time, wasn't it? Like,
Fine Time. Thank you,
yeah.
not Fair Trade. No,
I
no,
was going
but
to say,
like,
Fair Trade is actually a pretty good organization, Robin. From what I understand, it's all
yeah,
about
yeah,
making people.
no, that's not a good way to associate them. I'm trying to think because I'm almost wondering if she is going to be someone that's supernatural and not alien, because the way that Ruby keeps having snowfall on her, that to me seems far more supernatural than anything.
Oh,
It mean
definitely.
it,
With the way we're going with everything, even we know there's a supernatural element to all this. We know there is something there in terms of it being the one who waits, potentially being behind all this. It's certainly there's a connection there between Ruby, and the episodes have sort of been treaded that sort of like science fantasy line in some sense. Definitely, things like 73 Yards is obviously fancy, isn't it? 'Cause it's like a folk horror. And
Well, this is why I feel
yeah.
like this makes sense because so much of her story has been supernatural. Ruby's story with the goblins, with the fairy circle. I feel like to have this character be another supernatural source of some kind. I don't know if she's going to be the same level of one of these powerful, like Patreons. I'm not even convinced yet that the one who waits is necessarily her because
Mm,
like we still got this thing with the boss that beat the meat mentioned way back, and to
yeah.
me like this may be completely disconnected at all, but like we wind in a bit back into Rogue ship, he's talking about his job and paperwork, and he has the line of, "Oh, there's so much paperwork since we've got that new boss," and it's such a throwaway line, but I'm just like, oh, is it too much of a pull, boss and the boss, and it's like whether or not that's going to be a
Yeah,
thing,
and,
but
it's funny because I've not seen many people bring that one up on Twitter, but it's definitely there's a connection there. I think a lot of people have maybe sort of forgotten about the Meep and that part because there's been a lot of focus on the one who waits and other breadcrumbs like Susan Twist. So it's interesting. Um,
yeah.
what are your thoughts on bearing in mind? I know you haven't seen Pyramid to Mars and haven't experienced any stories featuring this film, but what are your thoughts on Sutek, Susan Twist's Sutek being involved in some capacity?
This is the thing, like I was deliberately not bringing up like, oh, I think they're something from the past because let's face it, I'm not that well versed in a lot of past
Mhm.
Doctor Who stuff to put that idea forward. I'm certainly getting there, but this is why my personal take on what I've seen is something that's supernatural, which I feel
Yeah.
would fit the story, which I don't necessarily see this as something alien, which I'm guessing would tie into that older story.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, Sutek is very supernatural, but
okay, okay.
still alien, and supernatural. It is a strange one, because I see, but everything we know about this, everything we've been told points to it being something from the Pertwee era, and Sutek is from the Fourth Doctor era. So I don't know. I think God knows what it's going to come out as. Never know. The thing which is supposed to be in the bottom of unit for the put year, it could be Bessie. Maybe Bessie turns out to be the villain. Maybe Bessie's the one who waits.
I mean, what do you think? You haven't watched this series as well as being more well versed in Ode
It
Who than me.
is. It's tough because I don't think you could say the one who waits is a previous Doctor Who villain and make it satisfying.
Hmm.
So I don't
Do you
think
feel?
I don't think that there's anyone that in terms of if we're going to power scaling, we're going to power scale like God, let's get the Dragon Ball and the One Piece characters out there and let's
Yeah.
let's scale some powers now. If we're going to do that, I can't think of anyone that really competes with the toy maker and makes the toy maker run off in terms of like the power we saw from him and the giggle. And I don't see anyone being that powerful, that we've met previously. Like it's not the Master, it's not the Cybermen. It's not the demons. It's not the Axons or the Axos. It can't be any of that. So, certainly not the Silurians or the Sea Devils. Oh my God, can you imagine it was the Sea Devils? Oh my fucking God.
Land bastards.
It just turns out that it's like a Sea Devil god or something. Like it's fucking Cthulhu.
It's fucking Cthulhu. Like, oh, that's a story I want so badly.
It's like,
not
oh,
H.P.
okay.
Lovecraft, but I want Cthulhu.
Yeah. Cthulhu, but just with a giant Sea Devil head instead.
Oh my God.
Instead.
Yes. See, I feel like the toy maker, they built up enough and they had him so focused in an episode that it felt like his return was justified. I feel like if you tried to do a sudden twist and introduce an old villain where big fans are going to get it, but new fans aren't, I'm not sure if you're necessarily going to have that same reward for those fans.
I've just had a light bulb
Oh,
moment.
okay, yeah.
Robin, it's Mephisto.
Go on, Jack. Why don't you come up to the front of the class and explain your wild idea that it's fucking Mephisto?
No, it's not Mephisto. I just remember, there was that conversation way back with One Division. It's like it's a secret villain. It's a secret villain.
Oh my God! No.
And then it's going to be Mephisto. Mephisto, and then it was Agatha.
Oh.
And even and even at the end, even that was revealed in the penultimate episode, in the final episode, there were still people going into it going, "It's Mephisto, it's Mephisto," and he's going to show up in Spider-Man: No Way Home as well.
I mean, I'll just be happy if it's not the Daleks. It's great to have a whole series without them. Have that be a rewarding thing. Hell, I'm not even sure
it can't be the Daleks again though, because it can't be, because Daleks are, yes, they're overwhelming power, but the toy maker's just going to go, ha ha. Sorry, he's just going to ha ha, and going to turn them into like dustbins or salt shakers or.
Oh my God.
They're not a threat. They're not a cosmic threat to him. They're a threat to the Doctor. They're a threat to characters in the world. There's a dark invasion of Earth. It's fucking terrible, but they're not in the same ballpark as this pantheon of extra dimensional, all powerful beings. Like, I can't exactly see, Davros rocking up to Maestro and being like, "You will submit to the Daleks," and Maestro being like, "Honey, I'm not gonna do." Like, I just can't see it happening. It's not something which is going to be in the realm of possibility. So it has to be something truly awe-inspiring. They're not the same ballpark. I don't think. And I don't think that there's a character we know that gives us a satisfying big bad. So it has to be something new. But then there's ties to a previous villain as we know. And I'm not going to lie, you said it there as well about, not being the Daleks. Yes, I don't want it to be the Daleks, but I need a Dalek 15 Doctor story soon.
Oh, completely. We need to have that. That's a primary. Every Doctor must meet a Dalek. We want to see that, but it's kind of a relief to have a season where they're gone, because it makes their return more satisfying. Also, I'm just feeling as if with 2 episodes left and this being a shorter season, whether or not we're actually going to get an answer to who the one who waits is, or whether or not they're the same character as the boss. I feel like they're 2 different characters, and I almost feel like we're going to get a resolution onto who Susan Twist is and like Ruby's mother, but I think they're going to save like these other mysteries for season 2, and I think that's going to be something that they've picked up now from modern TV, where they keep audiences like think of those questions still. They're going to throw one more ball at us at the very end to be like, oh shit, or what does this mean? And then
Yeah.
boom, you have to wait. And I think that's
Well,
what's going to
yeah, no,
happen.
I agree. What they'll do is they'll answer who Susan Twist is. I don't think we'll really get a answer as to Ruby yet. You know,
Okay. Okay.
as much as the episode is titled "The Legend of Ruby Sunday," I don't think we're going to get all the answers yet. I think by the end of this series, we're going to be left with more questions than answers, and I think that's a good way to step into series two. Like, you know, God, they filmed series one and series two back to back, which is, you know, fantastic.
That's what I'm thinking. It would feel
Yeah.
appropriate for it to be these connected stories. But I tell you what, we've been having quality episode after quality episode. I am so nervous with these last two episodes.
Yes.
I am
I
just like,
think,
please don't screw this
yeah,
up.
that's the thing. I think we know this as fans of Doctor Who, we know Russell can deliver on a finale, but then we also know it can be a bit. I'm trying to find the right way to describe it, but it can go a bit pear-shaped as well, can't it? Whether it be through Russell writing himself into a corner and sort of brazenly trying to bash his way out of it,
Yeah.
or whatever it is, or, you know, maybe it's an egotistical thing, you know, from Russell. I can't speak to that, but, you know, I'm hoping it's going to be a I'm hoping it's going to be a bad wolf parting of the ways and not a last of the time Lord sounded drums, or, you know, what they're and I say that I still enjoy those episodes. I do, you know, I really do, you know, and I think that, you know, it'd be wrong of me to say that I didn't enjoy them at all, but it's just in terms of the quality that I really want, and I really want it to end on a high this season. It's got to be something spectacular. It really does, to keep this momentum going. And we, yeah, we haven't had as many episodes. We know we've just had episode 6, which is usually our episode 11 of a 13 episode series, but it's episode 6. We've got half the episodes essentially, and we're going into the finale now, and it does feel a bit quick. And I can understand some people having grievances, and I've seen some people say that they don't feel like they really know the Doctor and Ruby that well. I would argue that I think we know them both very well. I think we know what makes them both tick, you know, quite well. I think they've done a good job despite the short amount of episodes, but I want more of them. So I am going to have to be looking to the expanded media a lot, you know, in the run up to Christmas now, with, you know, which luckily, you know, we're getting comics, we're getting books, and, you know, we're going to
Those
have
books
that,
look
you
nice.
know.
Those covers on those books, I'm just like, ooh, I'm
Yeah.
very tempted to start getting those myself
Mm.
because they just look so good.
Well, I think look, I'll say it now. Look, I loved Rogue. Absolutely loved it. It's become a new, like, comfort favorite for me. It's going to be one which I think I'm going to put on a lot, and I think a lot of the people have got the same sort of response to it. You know, it's like, yeah, I could probably whack on Space Babies or The Devil's Cord and enjoy them. I could probably, you know, 73 yards, maybe not so much. Dot and Bubble, definitely not so much. Boom, I don't think it's quite a comfort episode in the same sense either. So I think this is one I'm very happy to claim, as I said, you know, and I did the whole thing of it last week of being like a Bridgerton, you know, confession, being like, it is the bane of my existence, the object of all my desires.
It's what I
I
really like
burn
as
for
well.
it. I burn for Rogue. I burn for Rogue. And I'll stop there before getting like claimed on YouTube or something.
What I really love about this episode as well, like I've said before, past episodes tend to be some of my absolute favorites for
Oh
the
yeah, that's your whole deal. Like that's your
yeah.
bag. You love the past ones, yeah.
And the thing is, like, I love my past ones. I love the costumes, the sets, the music that can be interwoven into the narrative. And even though they add a lot of sci-fi elements to this, I never feel as if the sci-fi stuff takes away from those, from the past narrative, which I think is so important. And that's another, like, why I'm praising them for the choice of the monster in the story. It's just this episode is just a real comfort episode. I watched this on my own the first time I watched it. I had a blast. I watched it a second time with my fiance, and she absolutely loved watching it with me as well. And the second watch, I felt like first time was great. Second time, I just enjoyed it even more. And I was thinking, oh, is it still gonna hit me as much, even though I know where it's gonna go? Still does. It really still does. And it is it's a real just a real comfort episode, which is interesting because I do think there's like little the only flaws I can really think of, I think, are actually technical flaws which come from the sound. Because I think at the very start of the episode, the music is really blasting, and I've seen a few people notice how there'll be a moment where who's the who's the character that Ruby is joined by for the whole episode? I'm trying to remember her name.
Oh, isn't it like Emily Beckett or something like that? It's very like
Yeah,
it's a very Jane Austen-y sort of name, isn't it? You know,
because it's like the scene after you see her and like the sort of the higher up character sort of talking, and she goes away past the corridor, past the waiter of the drinks, and it's like, oh, something's amiss. And Ruby's like, oh, I'm gonna check this out. But the music is really blasting. And then the very first time I watched this episode, I couldn't make out a couple of lines. I didn't make out when the doctor said, don't set it to battle mode. I had to rewind that a couple of times just to hear what he said the first time.
Okay,
And I
yeah.
know a few people have said that about the music, but even then, like second watches, once you know what's being said, it's not as obvious. So I definitely say that to those who have only seen it once, like definitely watch it a second time and you'll pick up at these things a lot better. It's not like a sensory overload thing, which I had with the previous episode. It was just a volume thing where I felt they needed to scale down the volume just a tad at the
Sure.
beginning. And you know, I've heard some people being like, "Oh, I hate when the aliens are saying we're gonna cosplay this planet to death," and it's like, you
Oh,
know,
come on. It's cringy
it's
Doctor Who, and
fun.
it's not even that cringy, is it? It's just a bit of
No,
I don't know.
like,
I think people can take Doctor Who a bit too seriously, you know. And hey, Doctor Who fans, we can, but you know, we've spoken before where we're at the age where the sillier Doctor Who is, the more fun it is for us.
to me, that's very Rita Repulsa from Power Rangers, which I love that. And I think if there's like one legitimate thing that I would have a nitpick about is, and I didn't really have a nitpick with it on my first watch as opposed to my second, it's how Ruby gets out of the trap, because we do set this up and we do think, oh shit, they're now doing the whole, we're gonna go back to that moment where the doctor's like, don't worry, I'm gonna keep your daughter safe. And it's like, oh my God, is she actually gonna be trapped? Is this gonna be Rogue and the doctor now in the next episode trying to find her? And for Rogue to just be like, oh, all you have to do to get them out of this trap is just give them a rugby tackle. Like,
I don't
I
know.
can
No,
suspend my
it
disbelief.
says it does say, and it is a made up thing as well, isn't it? You know, and it does say,
Sure,
you know,
sure.
like weight, or like matter transfer. Like it's very much made sense that you know that Rogue takes Ruby's place in that is what happened.
Yes.
You know, which is, you know, and I think it's really interesting as well is that bit as well, because the Doctor does go quite Time Lord Victorious. Like he begins
Oh,
raging at
yeah.
them, and it's, you know, it's quite cool to see that, you know, as well.
That
So
line of his when he goes like, how long do they live for? 600 years? Good. A long time to suffer. And it's like,
yes.
oh,
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 and
victorious.
it's a sight we've not seen from 15 as well yet. So it's very, you know, I say that as, you know, despite the fact obviously he very clearly kills the Goblin King in in Church of Ruby Road
Yeah.
in a very sort of like in the most metal fucking way, you know. But yeah, I suppose if I was going to say something else to sum up this episode now, it would be quoting the second Doctor saying,
Well, this is gay.
I've loved all those combinations of people just being like woke in a nutshell, and it's just all those.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm gonna say it now. I loved it. I adore. I really, really, really. I stand this episode, and I'm gonna be asking you, Robin, whether you're gonna be planning to watch Bridgerton anytime soon after this in a second. But I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I think it's so strong. I think this is the strongest. I think this consistency wise, this season has been so consistently strong. So much so I'd say it's rivaling the run of
Mm.
season 4. What about yourself then, Robin?
Because even though I bring up this nitpick that I have,
Oh,
and the only reason I bring it up is because when I was watching it with my fiance, she was like, "How does that work?" And I was like, "Oh, because he pushed him." It's like, yeah, but how does that work? And I kind of just did that kind of like open my mouth finger in there, just like, I don't know.
you should have said, I'll explain later.
Yes, I should have done that. I'll do that from now on. I'm so glad that's a trope that's gone now. But like I've been back and forth for this because I just had such a joy with this episode. Like the characters and yeah, the B plot, it's fine. I still enjoy it, but I'm all there for the A plot. And I was thinking,
I think the B plot is worth it for the poker face scene alone. Like
that's great.
I think that's so great, and just seeing like Millie's expression for it as well. Just and it's so funny as well. It's so true to the Doctor to be like making these psychic earrings and then also throwing in a battle mode because he can't stop tinkering with it so much.
It's a fun little toy, that's for sure. And it's like I was really back and forth with this because I was just like, I adored this episode. Like it made me smile, it made me cry, it made me bump my fist in the air, it made me like heartbroken, all these emotions coming through. And like I still think this is going to be a comfort episode. I still think this is going to be an episode that I'm going to come back to frequently because I loved it these 2 times. Like a part of me really, really wanted to give it like a 10 out of 10 because of how much I loved it. But I'm also like, Robin, you've rated 2 episodes so far, 10 out of 10. And I'm trying to really think now, like, if I'm viewing this as like as a critical eye, I'm trying to think what it is that sort of stops certain things from becoming 10 out of 10s and the like. Like, the last episode wasn't high as yours, personal opinion, like, but this it's a struggle not to give it a 10 out of 10 because any nitpicks I have are just that. I think right now I can't justify giving it a 9 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 9.5 just because of just how much it just left a
That's
good
very
impact on
strong.
me.
I don't think you've anything to apologize for. I think for that, I think that's great. And it's my episode. It's the one I've claimed, so I'm happy to hear more praise for it. Really. I'll tell you what, Robin. I think it'll be really interesting when we reappraise all these episodes and look back at it when we do a
Same.
sort of like a season 1 retrospective once we finish the series and kind of have it all there. I'm quite looking forward to doing a big binge, like just watching it all back to back and just sort of, assessing it from there. But so that'll be fun. I know we're going to try and get Star involved in that one as well to help us, maybe another guest too.
I am the one who waits. I will escape my editing tomb, and I will be free.
But also, feels like a good opportunity to turn to Star's Corner. So, my thoughts on Rogue. I'm just going to hand it to Matt Berry.
Trust me, gay is in, gay is hot. I want some gay, gay it's going to be.
Enough said. 10 out of 10. Peak. Loved it. Perfect. Everything. Great. Might actually watch Bridgerton now. I have genuinely nothing more to add. This is my favourite episode of Doctor Who ever. I love it. Perfect. Chef's kiss. Whatever they have in the finale, it's going to be a very, very high bar to try and cross. I love this episode so much. Anyway, back to Jack with his spacey timey telegraphs. Oh wait, he hadn't said that bit yet. Well, now you know what's coming.
But I tell you what, Robin. Let's take a minute now to head on over to the space-time telegraphs.
Howdy ho!
That does
Keeping
remind me.
it theme.
Yeah. I tell you, but before we go to the listener answers and questions and things like that, Robin, do you reckon you'll be checking out Bridgerton anytime soon? Then, do you think you might give it a go?
To be fair, my fiance has started watching it recently, so I've kind of seen bits of it in the background. I'm seeing where the fans are liking it, and I'm like, you know what? This looks fun.
Mate,
I think this is definitely gonna go on my list.
I'm not going. It's surprisingly good. Like
Yeah.
I've really gotten into, like, really enjoyed it. So yeah. So over on Twitter, we always ask for feedback on the episode, what have you. We did a very cheeky one with the thumbnail here as well, which I'm looking very pretty in, which is very nice. Our first one comes from Courtney McCree at Weirdly Cork. Honestly, Shooty at his best. The face acting, the bond with Rogue, the pacing of the episode was just what this season needed, and this is my favorite thus far. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that this is their favorite so far, which is very, very nice. Next one comes from Cassian, the Grey Doctor himself. Star's husband. Cassian says it's gay. Enough said. Yeah, I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
It is, and it's all the better for it. Next one comes from XX_Coos16_XX. Fan art guy, good old Jake over here, who helped us by making the MCM poster for us as well this year. So thank you so much, Jake.
Oh,
Honestly.
did they? Oh, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
Jake. Oh my
Thank you.
God, cooked so good. If people haven't seen it, Jake took myself, Robin, and the rest of the panelists, and basically made it look like one of the collection sets, the poster for MCM, and it's just fucking gorgeous. It's one of my favorite things ever.
I've actually just gotten it printed off onto an A4 size, and I'm gonna frame it up in my house. I absolutely adore it.
I'm probably going to do the same sort of thing, and maybe I should have done it for the panel because I quite like get the idea of getting everyone to sign it, but I'm sure I'll track everyone down again at some point. It's fine. Okay, so Jake says, first time leaving a review. Please, Jake, we'll quite happily have first time calls. It's fine. This episode was absolutely fantastic. Might just be my favorite so far in the new season. New Who has been very experimental when it comes to the season, which I'm very, very happy about. But it's good to still get a classic Doctor Who opening. Yeah, I that's my one thing. I would have liked them to done like the 4-string quartet version of the theme, but then I guess they kind of peaked it already with Devil's Chord, so I don't know. I would like that. Jake does continue to say that typical normal scene. Oh my gosh, it's an alien. Doctor Who sound intensifies. The Doctor and Rogue's chemistry is incredible. My emotions were all over the place while watching. I think it's safe to say the Doctor Who community has a new favorite character. Roll for insight.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All about that. And then lastly, this one comes from the Awful Lot of Running email account. People can send us emails there anytime they want, not just on the episodes, and hopefully try and include them. This one comes from good old Mad Beach, Thomas Beach themselves. Oh, and this is always a highlight of the episode. This is always something I really look forward to, just because, my goodness, Thomas writes so well.
It's great. All we have to do is just copy and paste their stuff, and they've made the episode for us. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. So Thomas says to us, "Hello, Lord Jack, Sir Robin, and of course her ladyship Star." I do like it as well because it's like Sir Robin, like in Monty Python,
And I bravely ran away. Yeah.
You knew it. You got it straight away. Brave Sir Robin. I think. So Thomas says, I thank you for your cordial invitation to speak on this most marvelous Doctor Who episode, Rogue. Positives first. This episode was just frankly beautiful. The cinematography, the lighting, it was stellar. Incredibly immersive, the pitch black of the evening and the warm candlelight glows from the main hall. Every scene felt richly lit and shot. This felt like a Regency era film by the 40 plus minutes. Highlight of this being the Doctor and Rogue's dance. Couldn't take my eyes away as the two danced and the lights dimmed with a spotlight just on the pair. It was ethereal, to put it lightly, especially paired beautifully with choreography from Jack Murphy, who of course worked on Bridgerton and also choreographed the "It's Always a Twist" dance sequence at the end of Devil's Court. Musically, again, no notes, 10 out of 10. It's a beautiful scored episode. The violinists, the orchestra score as a whole was breathtaking. If there was one episode I'd love to listen on live performance to, it would be this one, hands down. Highlights being Rogue's theme at the conclusion, the reuse of the Doctor's theme as he's being scanned with all the incarnations floating, pickled in time like gherkins in a jar. Sorry, Robin, that's a Dimensions in Time reference, which, surprise, Canabuster is where the third Doctor's face comes from in the scanning sequence. The soundtrack had me in tears and fits of laughter. I adored the Bridgerton homages with Bad Guy and Poker Face getting a classic motif. But come on now, let's hear it for Can't Get You Out of My Head by Kylie. Amazing. Me and my mum were in stitches. Shooty was just having a blast. I'm desperate to see some outtakes from the scene alone. I adored his little jigs, which were incredibly reminiscent of some of his moves in the Barbie movie. Perhaps the best thing was the song choices weren't incredulous in the slightest. I love how I go from picking fault with the licensed track last week to praising them here. Storyline and characters were honestly top notch. One of the best things about Doctor Who is how we, from week to week, can just have a total whiplash of episodes, hurtling from incredibly harrowing social commentary to a Bridgerton homage with killer shape-shifting birds in it. So Doctor Who. Also, Shooty just runs with all this. His charm, his charisma, his line reads are top notch. It's behind a tree. Don't accept the event tarmac. You need company, honey. He makes almost any line in the script just shine, from quips and flirts to heartbreaking sincerity. He's just incredible. Jonathan Groff was also a very welcome addition to the special guest cast. Having only seen him as the King in Hamilton, and I'll say it now, Robin. This is me saying this, not Thomas as well. I didn't make this joke before, but he'll be back. Wait and see. Rogue will be back on your TV.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, how we did not do that joke earlier. For shame.
So the King Hamilton and hearing his vocals in Frozen. I'll admit I was wary of him playing Rogue as a suave, mysterious bounty hunter, but he smashed it with his chemistry with Shooty. It was great fun to see and watch develop as the story ran through at a breakneck pace. Perhaps less great, but still brilliant was Millie's presence as Ruby in the story. Don't get me wrong, with her material, she was great, living up the Dream Bridgerton scenarios, and her time with Lady Emily genuinely sweet. While her dismissal of Lord Stilton was fabulous, just her role as the companion was just incredibly overshadowed by Rogue, and he just had more time with the Doctor and was actively engaging in the main part of the story. Ruby kind of felt like the person going to an escape room just to cosplay and hang out. The kind that doesn't help solve the puzzle really. Even her switcheroo at the end felt nonsensical to have not tried to flee with her hand when her hand was let go of before the triangle trap. It also felt out of place to finally have the Dr. Carla scene that was teased in the release trailer, having already done a Ruby's unalived moment of Boom, and arguably many other scenes of the series. However, that was still a lovely moment. Just perhaps take it out of context of the series. The Bridgerton homage was also very good. Having never seen the show, but hearing lots about it from my mum and little sister, hearing the dialogue and the music in this felt very much like how I imagine Bridgerton is like. And my mum, being the Bridgerton expert, had some qualms, but appreciated the references nonetheless. Finally, I cannot digress any further. Let's discuss the Dr. X Rogue relationship fling. I really liked it. Yeah, seriously, as someone that struggles romantically and leans towards proving the Doctor is to be asexual, the dynamic here was really well handled, both with the chemistry and the writing. I appreciated how it developed through the story, but I'm hesitant to say this relationship is as solid as the Dr. X River, just because we've only had one episode with these two together. While I appreciate the chemistry and the writing, for me, it's just not solid enough to be fully invested. but it's a damn strong foot in the door to developing a 15's emotional range. Really, really hoping for more Rogue in the future, however. What I won't stand really is people taking cheap shots at Phasmin over this. These are literally two different circumstances. Taking pot shots at 13 and Yaz's romance is like making fun of a race car with 3 wheels against a fully wheeled car, a supercar race, car race, yeah. Phasmin had so little time to grow and flourish, despite having all the best intentions behind it, while Dr. X Rogue was pretty much just started, but has a real solid foundation. I'm excited to see it develop more, but can we not shit on something else to boost something that that's literally harmless? It's just so cheap and tacky coming from certain influential spheres of this community. I would say I agree with that. I think that it's not my horse race. It's not I can't speak to it in the same sort of lengths, and I don't think that there necessarily needs to be a comparison between the representation between both of them. And I just I always think it's a bit shaky ground if you have to shit on something else to raise something up. It's I think it's final thoughts. Rogue was a fantastically charming episode, was engaged and gripped throughout. The music was gorgeous, cinematography was spectacular, acting was pitch perfect, just a solid episode of Doctor Who, and was much needed after a hectic day at Big Finish Day. I am very, very happy to bestow the story a solid 9.5 out of 10.
Hey,
there you go, Robin. And now I present the thoughts of Lady Lisa Marie of the Beach Estate. Now, I'm going to apologize right now to Lisa Marie, because in previous episodes, I have started doing a voice for her, and I'm not going to do that for here because it's not intentional, but I feel so horrible for it all the same. A perfect mix of Bridgerton and Doctor Who. I knew one day I'd get Thomas to watch Bridgerton. Inspirational, heartbreaking, great, groundbreaking. Definitely need more Rogue. On the flip side, again, the Doctor needs to watch where he's easily walking into the triangle trap. Yeah, it's funny, this. It does keep cropping up, doesn't it?
And yet he did not step on Rogue in this episode, like as you wanted last week.
Again, he loses Ruby. It's all right. Shooty crying when he thinks he's lost Ruby, but he needs to pack it in. Okay. Though it was fantastic to see more of Shooty and Millie together after 2 episodes apart, basically. It's fantastic seeing Shooty smiles and cheeky winks. It's a brilliant episode. It's Doctor Who as we know and love it, but with the Shooty shine, and the Doctor's kiss with Ro was a big middle finger to all the homophobes against 13 and Yaz kissing. I witnessed the outrage when there was the first lesbian kiss on Brookside. All these years later, people are still horrified at seeing men kissing each other on screen. They need to get a life. Here, or crawl back under the rocks. 10 out of 10 episode, loved it. Thomas finishes off by saying, thank you all for inviting me and my mum to send their thoughts in. Things are certainly ramping up in this series. I'm really hoping it sticks a landing with the 2-partner, Thomas and Lisa Marie Beach. Thank you so much. Yes, as always, just a highlight for me when we do these episodes now. Really, really wonderful. Yeah, and I think it's important as well to bring up Phasmin there again. Again, it's not my race to I don't have a stake in that, but I think it's important to just mention it,
Yeah, no, I think that is very important because I'm very much in the same boat as well.
Right, well, Robin, I think now is the perfect time to head on over to your tasty morsel. Time for your finishing course. It's time for your Cannon Buster. Okay, Robin. So this episode being a bit of a whirlwind romance for the Doctor in terms of, potentially starting a relationship with Rogue, and what have you. There's also mention of a wedding to be had in this episode as well, which is, very, Bridgerton as well. Robin, how many times has the Doctor been married?
Oh. Okay, so
Go on, run through your head. Go on, run through your head.
Okay, so he got engaged to Madonna, but he didn't.
Madonna.
sorry.
Robin,
I-
you invented episodes again. But please carry on. Carry on.
No. Shit. Oh my god, why am I doing a mind blank? It's Matt Smith's line the in his Christmas episode.
Yeah,
No,
Marilyn
it's not
Monroe. He
Marilyn
marries
Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe.
Fucking-
Yeah, he
Sorry,
marries
it's
Marilyn
because
Monroe.
we're talking about Madonna earlier. I was like, I mean, hey, maybe if Madonna had survived, maybe they would have. But okay, he got engaged. There's been numerous times where he's talked about Cleopatra, but whether or not that's been a thing. Is it like
You're forgetting a big one right now, sweetie.
I mean, obviously, yeah, like you got Sweetie, you got to include Sweetie.
Who is Sweetie Robin? Who is Sweetie though, Robin? Who is Sweetie? Let's unpack that. Come on, man.
Well, I'm not talking about the Licorice All Sorts monster, if that's what you're
No.
thinking.
No, I'm not.
With a
Who
song, yeah.
who do you mean when you say Sweetie though? I just I'm calling you out right now. Sorry, I'm stopping the podcast.
No, I'm saying with a song.
Oh, okay, good. There we go. Good.
Yeah,
There we go.
I know who they are for crying
Yeah,
out
all right,
loud.
okay, cool. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, that's
Okay, no,
good. You've actually, I'm surprised you've mentioned
You're
3 so
terrifying
far.
me there, Jack. You make me think I'm getting the name wrong.
No, to be fair, you've mentioned 3 so far, which I'm very impressed by. Can you think of any more?
Oh, because
Day of the Doctor.
yeah, because it's shoot, I can't remember the historical figure, but it's like the one who gets the Zygon.
Yeah, Elizabeth I, isn't it? Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I remembered that one.
Brilliant. So you got 4 so far: Elizabeth I, Marilyn Monroe, Cleopatra, River Song. I'll be surprised if you get any other ones.
I'm struggling because season 5 onwards, like I need a rewatch because I only watched those when they first came out on TV, which I want to rectify. Damn straight.
Okay, well, look, let me put you out your misery now because I've let you squirm enough there.
Hey, I've done well. I feel
you
good.
did very good. Yeah, you got the ones which I would expect you to be able to get. Okay, so the Doctor has been married at least 4 times. At least.
Okay.
All right,
Because
obviously we have what would be Susan's grandmother potentially over in Gallifrey if they were married, that is, or whether there was looms and stuff we don't really know. Oh God, looms as a whole. God, I need to cover looms for you sometime because that is Christ almighty. The wiki lists a character called Scarlet who apparently married the 8th Doctor as well.
Okay.
Elizabeth I, as you said, Marilyn Monroe, Cleopatra, River Song as well. Of course, they're the big ones we'd expect. The 9th Doctor also apparently implied that he married Lady Mary Wortley Montagu for love, but it was left ambiguous to that as well. So there's another one there potentially. And of course, just because we're mentioning it as well, River also engaged in polygamy during her marriage to the Doctor because she married Marone, Stephen Fry apparently, King Hydroflax as well, and of course apparently Cleopatra also, I believe, is mentioned in her husband's River song. So for both of them,
Okay, like, sure. Okay, yeah, I'm feeling good about that. Are there any twist characters that I wouldn't expect? Like you're suddenly going to pull out that he did date the Licorice All Sorts monster or something?
No,
just like
there's no Candyman. There's no Candyman.
No,
it's not yet. God. Oh my God, maybe that's the one who waits. Maybe it's just gonna be Doctor finally.
Look, it's not the Disney money, it's that Licorice All Sorts money, that's where they get you.
And it's just gonna be, no, it's Mr. Blobby.
Oh my God.
Truly something terrifying.
Like true like TV burp like moment where he just appears and just trashes the TARDIS or something. Oh my God. I want that to be a thing so badly now.
So I'll send you it later. I think I put it in one of the group chats, but I saw someone painted a Dalek to be the same
Oh, I've
colour
seen
to-
that. I have
You've
seen that.
yeah.
One,
Oh, Star, throw it up now on the screen on YouTube if you can. So painted directed like Mr. Bobby. Okay. But yeah, that's the Cannon Buster this week, Robin. I honestly don't know what I'm going to pull up my ass next week, but I guess we're going to have to see based on what the twist villain could be. What it is, but no, thank you, Robin, as always. I've really enjoyed this one.
I really have. Oh.
I'm so happy to claim this episode, but I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy to be I'm quite happy to be Polly about this. I'm quite happy to share this episode because I don't think that, although I claim it, I don't think I should hold complete ownership over it. I think anyone that loves it should be allowed to experience it as well. So yeah. Anyway, I have been Jack.
I have been Robin.
This has been an awful lot of running. Keep running.
Next time.
Every podcast we record, a woman appears.
In every episode, I'm there.
She doesn't know why, but she edited them.
Jack, there's something wrong.
Whatever it is, here it comes.